All right, moving on. Item 10C, update on Macon Jackson County line issue. Mr. Westall, welcome. Thank you. I'm going to give just a refresh everyone's memory on this. God, it seems like last year, but several years ago when I first became a commissioner, I had an individual in Highlands come to me that had, these are round numbers, these are government numbers, so let's just say he had 10 acres of land from a professional registered surveyor, had 10 acres. He was getting a tax bill because his property was split, half in Macon, half in Jackson County. He was getting billed for 11 acres, even though he only had 10 acres per the survey, because the Jackson County and the Macon County lines were overlapping and both were claiming property that he owned. So we started looking into it, and our GIS analyst at that time, I guess this was 5 years ago, started looking at comparing Macon counties where we claim the county line is compared to Jackson County, and it literally looked like a double helix the way it goes. And this is these properties that it affects are on a ridge line, and it's some of the most valuable property in both Macon and Jackson County when it comes to assessed tax value on a per acreage basis. At the time, our county manager, Mr. Jack Horton, suggested that we get the state to intervene and come in. Well, 5 years later, we finally get something back from the state. So I'm excited to see this and kind of see how it flows in the conversation. Once we get this from Mr. Hall, I'll talk a little bit more about my conversation, or I'll give my thoughts on where we go from here, or potentially go from here, and how we handle it, and the problems that we need to address between the two counties. So welcome again. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks everyone for taking time to look at this. I was kind of introduced to this. I came on with the county about 4 years ago, so it is kind of new to me, but we've been doing some valuable work here, working collectively with Macon County Tax Office and Jackson County, as far as the North Carolina Geodetic Survey, who was taking the initiative to take all this field evidence, 2005 LIDAR data, NCDOT maps, and along with backdating deeds to collaborate to get a preliminary line that you see in the maps that's been provided. I'm going to be very brief, and I'll let Commissioner Tate take back over, but we're still working on this. We're still working to get some numbers about revenue changes and acreage changes also. But as far as like putting this into our GIS data and pushing out some hard numbers, we're still calculating that as of today. But I've spoken, talked with, and worked with Kevin Ford from the tax office, and it looks right now that as far as acreage changes and revenue changes, there's not going to be that significant of an amount of change. But I would like you to take these maps and in your own time, take them and review them. If you have any questions, please, feel free to contact me or come by, and we can produce some aerial imagery. I know there are several properties along. If you look at map 1 of 5 on your first page, a lot of those structures, as far as like EMS taxes, those will not change. We already have an agreement with Jackson County, even though the structures are within Jackson County, they get EMS services from Macon County. So yeah, we're still working to produce some some accurate calculated figures. That's an extensive process, and working with Ron Harding from the state, and he sent me these maps that they came up with, and we were able to take the data and place it inside our maps with our software. So that's been an ongoing process. So
Wes, looks like the state's showing 3 lines. Yeah. A county line derived from field located evidence, a county line derived from ridge line per 2005 LIDAR, and a county line derived from NCDOT maps. Is there one that they're saying is correct, or are they averaging the 3, or what are they?
And when I want to bring you back a map when they kind of consolidated this. they have pushed me one line as far as a shape file in ArcMap, which is the mapping software we use. That is a mixture of all the lines collaborative together. In one area, it may use a CDOT map. In another area, they may have field located evidence as far as a property marker or the old county boundary as per locus post. So yeah, they have pushed that to me, but it's still in the preliminary stages. So I think, talking with Ron Harding from the state, we're eventually going to have to come to an agreement between counties with you all and Jackson County. But it's good to see that we have a third-party unbiased source trying to establish the county boundaries. So and get back to your question, we do have a one line. It's just not represented on this map. This is a preliminary map showing the four or 5 different possibilities of county boundaries. So,
do they, in the next step in the process, will they provide us with a final, like when they say, when we have to agree upon something and Jackson County has to agree upon it, what is the next step after the preliminary?
The next step is you all will need to review it with any questions and concerns, whether it's financial or jurisdictional, whatever. And I will get you all a map with the single line that's a preliminary county boundary. But this map is sent and provided for you all to, if you have questions or concerns about any land disputes. And like I said, I'll be working to get you all that map, and that way we can review it and go over it. So.
Wes, is it your understanding on the proposed, I'm on map 2, sheet 2, I guess, on the placement of the new monuments, is this changing the property? Is this changing the boundary lines? Where they going to put the new monuments? Is this actually changing the boundary lines?
Well, it would be subjected to what's called the boundary line now, because Jackson County, like Commissioner Tate was saying, on a certain property, has their boundary coming within Macon County's boundaries. So we have, in certain areas, we have 3 different boundaries, and
it's to establish
it's going to be, yes, to
So
establish.
it changes the boundary line.
It will change in several places.
All those monuments on there are monuments that they've located on the ground.
Well, but it's got, the red ones are the proposed
Right,
monument
right.
locations.
And blue is the
The blue ones are the ones that they found,
So
and the red ones are the
proposed-
proposed
Right.
new monuments.
Yeah, the proposed monuments could also reflect descriptions within deeds, property deeds of a monument that should have existed there maybe as early, the early 1900s, that may no longer be there because it's rotten or been removed. So.
The calls that's on this map represent what?
The calls in the table, the line table,
Yeah.
on page 2. Okay, so if you look, and I know the writing is very small, but if you can find L9, which is in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, where the first monument is, at the Macon-Jackson boundary, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner of the map, L9, it goes L9, L10. Those are bearing and distance calls for that have been from previous surveys, or just land descriptions or deed descriptions. So that way you would be able to locate those property lines and boundaries. So,
and it looks like all of them are all the calls that are referenced are between found monuments.
yes, according to this map for this
No.
section of the
It is.
the county, it is. And as far as in the technical research aspect, I've not gotten in touch with them as far as their exact process of how they come up. I know they've used deeds and old plats and try to go back, but as far as the exact process, I don't know exactly how they do that.
Still at the end of the day.
No, but it gets us closer.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
is this worth it? For the money we're gonna have to put into this, because I see a lawsuit somewhere. Somewhere this is gonna be put in there that you want this done.
Well, here, you need to hang on to my next statement.
Okay.
Yeah, when we go to there, and while we're doing this.
All right,
So,
I'll back off.
but then we need to talk about that, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Okay.
I know for us, as far as talking with the tax department, there's been several concerns on revenue and stuff like that, but and these maps, again, are just preliminary. There's nothing set in stone on. This is just being evidence to push towards an established county boundary, instead of saying, well, me and so walked back here 20 years ago when we decided that the county boundary lines are along the top of that cliff. You know, this is trying to use field located evidence, land description deeds, calls, and everything like that. So
I think this is an indication that they've got a tough task out there, and it's not an exact science, and so they're pulling together as much evidence which would be suggestive of where this line should be together as possible, and doing the best they can with what they got to work with.
I think you're right.
The intent of a survey, though, is to take the original description of the county boundary and place it on the ground.
And I guess both parties agree to it. There can't be a lawsuit.
I'm going to have to look at that. I've not been asked to look into this. I hadn't really worked on it, but I don't know what authority the counties do or don't have, or whether that's something the state of North Carolina will have to do for the counties, quite candidly.
My understanding was that if both Chester, when we first started this, that if both counties came to agreement that, okay, here's the line, then the state would basically just rubber stamp it and say, okay, y'all are in agreement, we're in agreement. So.
that's correct from what I've also heard as well.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
I just want to mention, sorry, Commissioner, just one more thing that, you know, this, like Mr. Jones was saying, as far as this, having a survey would cost the county so much money that, you know,
It's a bit prohibitive.
I mean, neither county's probably, you know, it's kind of been kicked out the door. I mean, that's the only technically accurate way to produce the county boundary, but the state has took the initiative to pour in the research and try to get this thing nailed down. So.
Right.
Just one question, Wes, on 4 or 5, where it shows Jackson. This is going up K Mountain. Where's Gold City at here?
So you see the Silver Road, see where the Silver Road label is there? That would be very close. I'm not sure exactly which parcel is represented there that would be.
Because it runs through Watauga Vista too. This property line, I'm starting a house right there. It runs, half the house sits in, half of it, half sits in Jackson County.
So, so the Silver Road runs through here. So that would probably be that Gold City tract right there, that big elongated.
With the hump in it.
I would assume, the best of my knowledge, probably right here. See where Silver Road runs through here, just north of the Silver
Okay.
Road there. I would
Okay.
assume that would be the.
Okay, thank you.
To the best of my knowledge.
Mr. Chairman, if you'd like, I can work with Wes whenever he and Kevin finish those computations and get that map with one line and email all that information to the board.
I'm good with that if the board is in agreement. So.
Move along.
All right, thank you, Wes.
Thank you all.
Here's why it's important, and this is why Jack Horton was persistent upon knowing where the line is before we get into the next line of conversations. The next line of conversations, and I'm going to use this very broadly. Let's look at Highlands Falls Country Club. Highlands Falls Country Club in Highlands. They have one entrance into the club, gated community, one entrance in. Half of that club is in Jackson County, half of it's in Macon County. But the only way you can get in and out of that club is through Macon County. Guess who provides all the trash service to all those Jackson County residents? Macon County. We still do to this day. Guess who provides 911 service? When they dial 911, comes to our offices here in Franklin. We dispatch our ambulance, our fire services, our sheriff's department. We go there. Guess who provides all the recreational opportunities? We do. So Jackson County, on all these very, very, very high dollar residents, I think it was crazy. It was $600 million.
Oh, yeah, it was.
That we came up with. It was a lot of money on these residences that Macon County is providing all the services for, but Jackson County is collecting all the tax revenue on. So it's not only Highlands Falls Country Club, it's Calisage Club, it's the entire Sagey Woods Bowery area. It's a lot of Wildcat. And the reason that it's really strange, Commissioner Shields, is they're landlocked. Backside of Highlands Falls, when you can't go anymore, it's Forest Service. Backside of Calisage Club, Forest Service. Backside of the Bowery Road area. So we have them landlocked. They have these little islands of land that you can get to only through Macon County. So to get to Bowery, for example, you come from Cashers, you drive all the way to Highlands, go down Horse Cove Road, take a left on Bowery to get back into this Jackson County property, because there's no other way to get to it except by air helicopter maybe. So again, here we are, Macon County is providing the services to all these residences, Jackson County is collecting money. So Jack Horton was pretty persistent upon the idea that, okay, let's determine where the county line is, let's let Macon and Jackson County, then we'll start talking about how we handle these services. The right thing to do, Jackson County will laugh at me, but in my opinion, just from a completely omniscient point of view, the right thing to do is for Jackson County ought to compensate us, number one, or they ought to give us those properties and put the county line at the Forest Service, since we provide everything anyway. Let's just collect the taxes and take care of them. But y'all all know, I can see the grins out there. That's not going to happen. So, and I don't know if I'm going to throw this out there.
Local agreement may be very plausible.
But something needs to happen.
Yeah.
So.
They give us some money. Didn't they give us some money?
A few years ago, they give us some to go to the Highlands Fire Department, because Highlands Fire Department they raised a little greater stink than I did to.
But
so
it was very minute compared to the overall.
But also changed their insurance ratings when all of a sudden Highlands Fire Department serviced them versus Cashers. So there was some community uproar over that too. But there's a lot of services that Macon County provides as well. That
If this county is providing services for Jackson County, I think it's a highly appropriate topic for an interlocal.
Right. I agree.
Thank you.
Just got to have that conversation. Any questions on that? Thank you, sir.
Appreciate your work, man.
Thank you, Wes.